Hey everyone, we here at Game Freak are really excited to show you an incredible new Pokemon. And the best part, it's a new type that's strong against Psychic Pokemon, which we've heard really ruined the experience in Generation 1. On top of that, this new Pokemon has an incredible design, somewhere between cute and terrifying. We're sure you're really going to want to include it on your team. The thing is, we don't believe in democratizing the gameplay experience, so you won't have the ability to catch it until you beat the entire game. So you won't be using it during the story. The placement of dark types in Generation 2 is such a perplexing design choice to me. Why are they all gated off at the end of the game? This is one of the reasons that I love these solo playthroughs. It's a chance to experience the game with a Pokemon that otherwise would be impossible to obtain early on, with the notable exception of trading with friends. But when I was younger, I didn't have dedicated Pokemon-obsessed friends like me, and so it wasn't an option to trade for one of these early on. Today, I'm just excited to play through Pokemon Crystal with only a Sneasel. This little slashing monkey is just so adorable. Before we get into the run, let's do some analysis of Dark as a type in Generation 2. These Pokemon have a design flaw, and it goes much deeper than just where they're obtained. In Generation 2, damage category, meaning if a move is physical or special, is determined by a move's type. Dark moves are special, but most dark types have higher attack than special attack. I think it would have made sense to make Dark a physical type, which would counter Psychic type Pokemon very well as they typically have low defense stats. Unfortunately for Sneasel, it gets the damage category flaw with both of its types. Dark and Ice are special, and Sneasel's best offensive stat is its attack. It only actually has 35 base special attack, so stab moves aren't going to be particularly powerful in this playthrough. There is a silver lining here though, because Sneasel has access to an incredibly diverse move pool through TMs. Notable among these are Headbutt, Iron Tail, Return, Dig, Shadow Ball, Mud Slap, Swift, and Fury Cutter. The level up learn set is pretty good too. This is one reason that I chose Crystal version today. It gets the addition of Metal Claw in this game. I want to give Sneasel the best shot against Generation 2, so Crystal is just the better game for this. Game Freak also clearly was thinking the same thing, as they treated Sneasel a little bit better in this game by allowing players to catch it as early as Ice Path. That's still not particularly early, but it's better than Mount Silver at night. By the way, I've only completed Crystal once in my life before, so expect some bumps today. I was also very tired while playing this challenge, so I made a few more mistakes than usual, like forgetting that Shadow Ball is a physical attack. But would it be one of my videos if I played perfectly? I don't think so. Mistakes happen, and on this channel I want you to experience my genuine playthroughs, mistakes and all. Now let's review the rules for this challenge. 1. I'll only use my starter in battle. 2. I won't use any items in battle, including held items. Johto is way easier than Kanto, so I'm trying to make things harder on myself. 3. No glitches or exploits. 4. No double team unless I'm level 100 and it's still impossible to win. With all that out of the way, like, subscribe, ring the chime echo, and share this video with a friend. If you've got a suggestion, feedback, or a thought, leave it in the comments. I read them all. Looking at the determinate value table, all of Sneasel's stats are unique at level 5 with a DV of 15. That means it's possible to actually just reset for a perfect one with only in-game data. This would have took forever if I decided to do it by myself, but since this is possible with only in-game data, I end up just setting myself up with a perfect Sneasel right from the start. Scratch is a better move than Tackle in Generation 2. It has a base power of 40 and a 100% accuracy. On the other hand, Tackle has a base power of 35 and only 95% accuracy. And if it isn't 100% accurate, it's 50% accurate, right? In these games, training before the first rival battle makes this fight trivial, so I'm moving on to the next stage of the game very quickly. Sneasel is a fast boy after all. On my way to Violet City, I run into a Bellsprout and catch it with the first Pokeball I throw. I needed it anyways because it's going to be my cut and flash mule. When I arrive at Violet City, I skip the Pokemon Center and proceed to Sprout Tower. Here I'll mention one of the big differences between Gold and Crystal. In Pokemon Gold, many of the trainers were impossible to skip, but in Crystal they've been repositioned, and that gives you the choice if you'd like to skip them or not. So this is a convenient design element, but it's my second time playing through this game and I'm on 3 times speed, so I run into a lot of extra trainers accidentally just because I don't know where they are. After the tower, I again skip healing to save some time. Sneasel matches up really well against Falkner anyways. His birds have been feeling easier and easier lately, which is really nice, especially after the pain that his Mudslap caused Steelix. With him out of the way, I head over to the Pokemon Center and pick up the egg. Because I have to be here anyways, I heal up. Going forward with the challenge, I'm going to try and skip as many Pokemon Center heals as possible so that Abra can bring me back here later in the run with Teleport. In Union Cave, I teach Sneasel Mud Slap. This move allows so many Pokemon to progress past the Hikers as well as the next rival's Ghastly with ease. Thanks Faulkner, your TM is great. After all, it's a souped up sand attack. On the bottom floor of the cave, I pick up Swift. I've used this one too early before, so today I'm saving it for Karen when it can really make an impact. With the cave behind me, it's time to train. Bugsy's Scyther is going to be an issue for Sneasel because Fury Cutter is super effective, and doubles in power with each successive hit. Note, Mudslap can't lower Scyther's accuracy because it's a flying type, so my only option is to overlevel. To train, I decide to fight the rival first. I almost never do things in this order. Of his team, Quilava is the scariest. I choose Scratch and deal a lot of damage with a critical hit. However, Mudslap would have dealt just as much damage and caused an accuracy loss. That would have been the better choice. Quilava lands Ember and does so much damage because it's a critical hit. But it's too far gone and I'm moving on to Zubat, which is weak, and then I take it down. It's time for Bugsy. Luckily Scratch is dealing enough damage and lets me speed through his Cocoon Pokemon. Scyther is next. My brain breaks here and I try Mud Slap because I was thinking about the accuracy drop, not the typing. So Bugsy gets to use Fury Cutter for free first turn. However, then he uses Quick Attack and that resets Fury Cutter to its base power. Okay, one mistake for both of us. I take Scyther down to half health with Scratch, and then it starts to use Fury Cutter again. My next attack takes it into what looks like KO range, but Fury Cutter is starting to deal more damage to Sneasel. It's now or never. I outspeed with Scratch, and it does the required damage, and despite my awful Mud Slap mistake, I'm moving on. In Goldenrod, Sneasel gets access to Ice Punch, its first stab move. This isn't a physical attack, but it does have high power, provide coverage, gets stab, and has a 10% chance to freeze. Before Whitney, I teach Sneasel Headbutt. I saved it for this long so that I could deplete PP on other moves in order to delay healing as long as possible. Headbutt does half damage to Clefairy and causes it to flinch. Miltank is next. I use Screech first turn, lowering its defense 2 stages, and then it starts to roll, which does super effective damage to Sneasel. Headbutt does half damage to Miltank and causes it to flinch. Excellent, I just need a range that can knock it out now. I get it, and with that Sneasel is moving on without any resets so far. Let's talk another version difference between Gold and Crystal. Previously the Squirt Bottle could be immediately obtained after defeating Whitney, but now I need to journey north and talk to the Flower Lady's sister who is next to the Pseudo-Widow. This isn't as awful as it would be in Gold and Silver, since more of the trainers on this route are actually skippable. After meeting her, I have to make the trip back to Goldenrod to actually obtain the Squirt Bottle. This is a pretty annoying waste of time. Gold is certainly superior here from a speed, quality of life, and time perspective. Because a lot of the skippable trainers before Sudowoodo are the annoying, unpredictable spinning trainers, I decide to buy Abra anyways and teleport back to Violet City, which is the last place that I actually healed. Teleport's obviously going to be a useful field move to save some time as the run progresses anyways. It's Kimono Girl time, and this lets Sneasel level up a lot. Next is the rival, and in Crystal, I can't skip him because I have to release the legendary beasts, unlike in Gold and Silver. At this point in the run, I was starting to think that everyone who told me that Sneasel was awful before the physical special split was just thinking about it in theory rather than how it actually plays. Access to Headbutt, Dig, Ice Punch, and Feint Attack really give this little monkey good coverage and the ability to speed through fights that regularly wall other Pokemon. Like Morty, for example. His Ghost Poison Pokemon takes super effective damage from both Dig and Feint Attack. Their defense stats and my attack stat make Dig the best option here. With this move alone, Sneasel can sweep through Morty's entire roster of ghosts. Excellent. It's good that we have an easy win to encourage us, because things are going to get hard soon. Chuck's fighting moves are 4 times effective against Sneasel, and Jasmine is going to be tough as well. Tough as steel, that is. To prepare, I fight as many trainers as possible in the lighthouse, and say hi to Birdcatcher Dennis along my way. I've got to say thanks for helping with the YouTube algorithm after all. I surf across the sea and pick up the secret potion. Then I fight this guy. Not gonna say his name, I'm not doing it. The embarrassment of mispronouncing it will be greater than losing to Bruno. Oh wait, Sneasel's typing. Oh no, please no. In the past, I've smashed my head against gym leaders by resetting over and over when I clearly can't defeat them at my current level. I'm not gonna do that today, so I walk over to Mahogany Town first. Many of you noticed that with Girafarig, I forgot that Shadow Ball was a physical move in Generation 2. I honestly remembered that ghost attacks are physical before Generation 4, but Shadow Ball is just stuck in my mind as a special move. I played this run immediately after Girafarig, so unfortunately for Sneasel, it won't be using Shadow Ball today. I pick up the TM for Hidden Power at the Lake of Rage, and then I realize that I actually can't fly back to the lake to catch Gyarados because I don't have Chuck's badge. So I have to walk all the way north to get to the Gyarados, and on my way I run into Raikou, and this reminded me of a story from when I was a kid playing Pokemon Silver. After releasing the beasts from Burned Tower, I went west and found Raikou in the grass. I was so surprised to see a level 40 Pokemon so early, and I absolutely was in love with its intimidating design. My small child brain wanted this thing so badly, but then it just fled after the first turn of battle. I trained for days on this route trying to re-encounter it because I didn't know that it was a roaming legendary. Funny enough, I actually managed to bump into it a second time on this route while doing this. I knew that it was probably going to flee again immediately, so I threw a Great Ball at it and I caught it. But I already had 6 members, and so it was just sent to my PC right away. At this time of my life, I was around 8 or 9 years old, and I had overdeveloped math, science, and artistic abilities, but I still wasn't reading at all, so I had no idea how to get this thing out of the redesigned Generation 2 PC. To complicate the matters, my first box had been filled up when I caught Raikou, so I couldn't deposit any other team members. This made me so frustrated because I really just wanted this cool electric doggo on my team. I started to experiment because that was the only way that I could solve issues like this without letting my mother know that I wasn't actually taking a poop and I was instead playing Pokemon. So in an effort to figure out the PC, I pressed all the buttons and selected all of the text fields. And then I did this. I released Raikou. I thought I'd be able to find another one where I caught it because I didn't know it was a legendary, and despite how much I searched, I never found it again. The pain of this event still haunts me today. With that nostalgia out of the way, let's get back to the playthrough. Price is simple as always. I really wish this fight was a challenge. What do you think we could change about him to make him more intimidating? It would be at least nice if he didn't start with a mono water type. Maybe Sneasel could have actually been a part of his team to give some extra Johto flavor. I head back to Olivine and attempt Jasmine. Dig is excellent against the Magnemites. Alright, I'm hesitantly optimistic about the Steelix. My first dig does good damage and Steelix starts to miss Iron Tail over and over. Am I really gonna win like this? Steelix survives my third dig with a sliver of health, and then Iron Tail does damage to me for the first time, and it's a one-hit knockout. Well, I'm not gonna get that sort of misluck every fight, so I'll need a new tactic to be able to win here. I'll complete Chuck first and then come back to Jasmine after. Headbutt makes quick work of Primeape due to a critical hit. Poliwrath is next. Sneasel obviously outspeeds it and does half damage with Headbutt. Then Chuck chooses Dynamic Punch, and in an incredible stroke of luck, this 5% accurate move actually hits, and Sneasel faints. That makes sense since it's 100 base power and 4 times effective. However, since Dynamic Punch has 50% accuracy, I should be able to avoid it on the next fight. This Headbutt causes Poliwrath to flinch, and then I knock it out second turn. Chuck is finished. It's a good thing that there's no more trainers who have strong fighting types in the remaining game. I don't think I'm forgetting anyone. Yeah, that's definitely true. Jasmine opens with Magnemite, and my dig makes short work of it. Steelix is next. I choose Ice Punch because it could freeze, and Steelix's special defense is much lower than its defense. Iron Tail hits Sneasel next, and I survive this time, and then I land a second Ice Punch that freezes. There is a chance to thaw in this generation, but I'm just too fast, so this fight's over. The Rocket plotline gives me a bunch of levels, and then I grab the TM for return. After that's out of the way, Crystal version has a small portion of additional gameplay where you battle Suicune. There is no need for me to catch it, so I just knock it out. Also, this is an optional portion of the game, so I'll be skipping it in future Crystal playthroughs. Yes, there will be more of these in the near future. In Ice Path, I get a chance to become confused by the new redesigned sliding puzzles. I didn't actually realize that they changed these things. They also gave a whole new tile set to this cave, and unfortunately I'm not a huge fan of it. It certainly adds a lot of flavor and vibrancy, but something just feels a little bit off about it. I can't figure out what it is. Claire's the final gym leader, and for once I have stab super effective damage against her Dragonairs, making them incredibly easy to knock out. Kingdra would take neutral damage from Ice Punch, so I choose Return instead, and that gets the job done with 2 hits. Next, I prove myself by answering the questions in the Dragon's Den correctly, and then I fly around the region and pick up all the available rare candies. In Victory Road, I face my rival for the last time. First, I knock out my doppelganger. After that, his Typhlosion can't outspeed me, and Dig knocks it out. Ground moves are extremely strong against his team. With him out of the way, it's time to take on the league. Here is my moveset and my stats before my first attempt. Typically this level is more than enough, and I think I have the moves that I need to get through every Elite Four member. Also note that in Johto I play through the league without saving between fights. So let's get going. Will opens with Xatu. Sneasel outspeeds and Ice Punch knocks it out in a single hit. Slowbro is next and it loves to use Amnesia on the first turn, which lets Return knock it out in 2 hits. The second Xatu also feints to Ice Punch, leading to Executor. Usually this thing survives my attacks and then gets annoying in some way, but today Sneasel can just take it down with ease. Jinx is last and its frail physical defenses make it an easy one-shot with Return. So far so good. Koga, the only Kanto gym leader who got promoted, is next. Return knocks out Ariados and Venomoth in a single hit, and then he sends out Fortress. I don't have something strong against it, so I choose Ice Punch because it has a chance to freeze, and it's also a special attack. After some annoying protects, I finally knock it out. I choose Dig for super effective damage against Muck, but it uses Acid Armor, allowing it to survive my hit. Minimize follows, and I miss, and then it lands Sludge Bomb, which brings Sneasel down to 69 hit points. Nice. And it also poisons me. So I'm on a timer now, and I don't have access to any recovery. I do take the Muck out, but Crobat uses Quick Attack and knocks Sneasel out. By the way, I have perfect DVs, and that means that my hidden power will be a Dark type and have a base power of 70. This is Sneasel's strongest Stab Dark move. I teach it to him now, and that makes Will even easier. At Koga, I get back to Muck without issue. If I just use Return, I'm able to take it out. Dig just takes too long, giving Muck the time it needs to set up and make things annoying. Now, with higher health, I can knock Crobat out with Ice Punch. So, Bruno is next, and fighting type attacks do 4 times damage to Sneasel. Hitmontop survives Return with a sliver of health and then goes underground. I use Dig to avoid its attack and then I knock it out. Hitmonlee is a simple one-hit, and then the Punching Fiend is next. Mach Punch is a priority move, so Hitmonchan uses it first and knocks my Dark Ice type out with a 4 times effective critical hit. That's embarrassing. So my ego really doesn't want to release this video anymore. I guess I can mention my girlfriend in the script and that'll make me feel better. The more people that know that I'm in a successful relationship, the better I feel. Also, the more people that click this little thumb, the better I feel. So you can also help me out after this demoralizing loss. One solution to this problem is to train up more. So I head out and level up to 60 and then reattempt the league. Mach Punch now doesn't get a critical hit, and I survive with green health. Then the following Machamp survives my attack and uses Cross Chop, which knocks Sneasel out. Alright, so Bruno is the one that's walling me. I gotta think of a different solution to this problem. I backtrack into Johto and journey into the depths of Mount Mortar, where I obtain the TM for Defense Curl. Against Hitmontop, I can set this up for free while it attempts to damage me with Dig. I make a mistake here and I waste a turn that I could have used to set up once more. Oh well. With this amount of defense set up, I start to attack. Hitmonchan can't do much damage to me now, but Machamp is the real test. It lands Cross Chop and Sneasel survives, allowing me to finish it off. Defense Curl is one of those moves that I never thought that I'd use seriously without rollout, but it was a great choice for this fight. Next, I need to cross my fingers and hope that Karen doesn't call my manager and complain about how much I mention my girlfriend in these videos. I've added Swift to my moveset now so that I can bypass accuracy checks to counter Umbreon's Sand Attack. Houndoom is next. My first Dig misses because of Sand Attack, and I'm brought down to half health with Flamethrower. Then, my second Dig misses as well. I thought that Dig would be best against Houndoom and Gengar, and Swift would be useful against everyone else, but maybe I should have just used Swift here as well to be more consistent. I make it back to her with ease, and on my next attempt, I use Dig first turn against Umbreon to avoid Sand Attack. Next turn, it confuses me, and then Sneasel does some damage to itself before knocking the Umbreon out. So Dig first turn allowed me to proceed with my accuracy intact. Houndoom is next, and this time Dig knocks it out, and from here her entire team is simple for Sneasel to deal with. Lance is last, and there's only one Pokemon that I'm worried about on his team. However, Gyarados sets up Rain Dance right before the Charizard comes out, so it won't be an issue. I believe that this is due to an AI oversight. It wants to set up Rain Dance to improve its stab water type moves damage. However, Gyarados faints and then the AI doesn't check the weather, and instead just selects the team member that has super effective damage against my current Pokemon. This is what leads to Charizard being brought out during the rain. If I was using a normal type Pokemon, Charizard would be his 5th team member, not his 2nd, which gives time for rain to fade before it enters the battle. Now is Sneasel's chance to beat up all of the Kanto gym leaders without healing at a Pokemon Center in between. Then, Magneton uses Double Team, and I miss my dig, and it paralyzes me. This leads to Sneasel being defeated when Electabuzz uses Thunder. I honestly never really thought what happens when I have to reset here. These gym leaders are always just so easy. This demoralized me a little bit, and I honestly just defeated the rest of the gym leaders, not worrying about skipping heals. Blue is next. After defeating Pidgeot, Arcanine survives Dig and then uses Flamethrower. But Sneasel hangs on and takes the Fire Doggo out. Rhydon is next. I was worried that Ice Punch wouldn't do enough damage, but due to Rhydon's low special defense, it faints from a single hit. Then Gyarados survives a hit from return and uses Hyper Beam, which knocks Sneasel out. I teach Sneasel Rest to add a recovery option to my moveset. However, in this case, Exeggutor knocks me out with Egg Bomb. I should have just backtracked at this point and learned Ice Beam in Johto. This is the first game with move tutors, and in Goldenrod City on Wednesday and Saturday, you can teach your Pokemon Ice Beam, Flamethrower, or Thunderbolt. But as I mentioned, I haven't played Crystal much, so I decided to train in Kanto and gain a few more levels, instead of remembering about the move tutor. After doing some training, I'm still struggling with this fight at level 72, so I did some more training. In the end, I'm going to need a higher level for Red anyways. At level 74, I can now one-shot the Pidgeot. Arcanine and Rhydon are unchanged. Maybe Gyarados is going to one-shot me with Hyper Beam, but it chooses Twister instead, and that lets Sneasel knock it out. The additional levels let me take Exeggutor down, and Alakazam is simple because of my typing and attack stat. Before the fight with Red, I head back to Johto and teach Sneasel Ice Beam. I won't forget that this tutor exists in future playthroughs of Crystal. Red sends out Pikachu, and it's a one-hit with Dig. Because of how the AI works, which I described earlier, Red sends out Charizard next. Return doesn't even do half damage. That's really bad for me. It's a 3-hit at this level, which gives it 2 turns of Flamethrower and it knocks me out. Because I'm close to leveling up, I fight a few Pokemon in the cave and level up. After that, I bring Sneasel up to level 85. Now I can do just over half damage to Charizard, so I'm able to knock it out and move on to Snorlax. Ice Beam does 1/3 damage and then it uses Amnesia. So no more special moves for you, Sneasel, you're bad at those anyways. I get brought down to 16 hit points and then knock Snorlax out, but I don't have any recovery, and I doubt that I can defeat his final 3 Pokemon. Ice Beam does let me finish the Venusaur off, but then Blastoise knocks Sneasel out. Alright, it's time for my signature move, Rest. The first part of this fight is possible, but I need to add some recovery into the mix. If you have 2 damage dealing moves, Sleep Talk and Rest, you'll be consistent at healing and dealing damage. Sleep Talk will either heal again with Rest or damage the opponent. Note that this does reset the sleep timer, and this combo doesn't work if you have a status move like Thunder Wave on your moveset. With these new moves, I can make it through Red's entire team, and Sneasel clocks in with a time of 3 hours, 30 minutes, and 1 second. After playthroughs like Girafarig, Stantler, and Scizor, Sneasel's results don't feel great when put side by side with these great Pokemon. But overall, I think it did well. I was playing a new version after all, and some additional time was spent bumping into trainers that were optional. When considering this playthrough from a global perspective, I noticed that Sneasel was incredibly strong early game, and its effectiveness fell off significantly as the game progressed. I am actually pleased with its performance because I did expect it to be worse due to the damage category of Dark and Ice moves. Just before I end the video, I've got a question for you. I was initially worried that Crystal would be longer than Gold because of the extra plot elements. Turns out that the game is about the same length. It's not going to add too much time to the production of these videos, so I feel fine playing it more. I was also concerned that the animated sprites would look awful when sped up. Turns out that they don't actually animate if you turn off battle animations, so this is a non-issue. So here's the question, would you prefer that I play Crystal or Gold in the future? If I see a lot of comments saying that you'd prefer me to play Crystal, then I'll continue playing Crystal for future Johto playthroughs. Thanks for watching. I read all the comments, so if you want to interact, just write a message down below. It's my goal to do this full time, and if you want to help out, consider doing the small YouTube things. Like, subscribe, ring the chime echo, and share this video with a friend. These things really do help. If you want to go above and beyond, consider joining my Patreon. I'm currently collecting the original 151 patrons, and regardless of the amount you pledge, you'll be included in this credit sequence and gain access to our Discord server. But money isn't everything. The most important thing for me is that you're just here watching. If you've made it this far, you're incredible. I'll see you in my next video.